Hungry and scorned by those around her, a young girl, homeless and desperate, gathered the courage to ask, "Can I fix it in exchange for food?" For men chuckled, dismissing her, until the engine roared to life beneath her hands. When she uttered her father's name, an eerie silence took over. What unfolded next would leave them humbled and forever changed. But before we dive deeper, drop a comment below. Tell us the time and where you're tuning in from. Also, don't forget to strike that like and subscribe button. Now, let's begin. Her stomach grumbled louder than any voice could, but she pushed through. A 14-year-old girl, skin as dark as the night, trudged along the cracked pavement. Her beige shirt was torn, stained with dirt, and her heavy backpack contained nothing of value, just discarded bits of the world's waste. Her legs felt like they might give out at any moment, but the irresistible aroma of fried chicken and fresh bread led her to a warm light spilling from the nearby restaurant. She stood frozen at the doorway, eyes fixed on the trays of food as they passed by, too close yet too far. "Please," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I'll work for food. Anything. I can wash dishes, mop the floor. Just please, give me a plate." The owner, a burly man in a greasy apron, sneered at her request. "We're not a charity. Get out of here." But she didn't move. "I'll work for it," she repeated, her hands trembling, pleading. "Didn't you hear me?" He barked, his hand shoving her shoulder roughly. The world had turned its back on her, but the road ahead would reveal something no one expected. She stumbled back, crashing onto the hard pavement. Two customers in line couldn't hold back their laughter. One sneered, muttering, "What a nuisance." The other laughed louder, mocking, "Look at her, begging like some stray dog." Their words stung far deeper than the gnawing hunger in her stomach. She clenched her fists, fighting the tears that threatened to spill. She refused to break in front of them. Turning away, she lowered her head and walked off. Each step felt heavier, her pride crushed, yet still unbroken. But then, a sound stopped her in her tracks. The clanging of metal, followed by a curse, then a burst of laughter. She looked up. A sleek luxury sedan, hood open, sat in front of a repair shop. Four men crowded around it. The first was an older mechanic, his hands coated in grease, leaning on a wrench, his face twisted in a smirk. Beside him stood a younger man, arms crossed, already amused by the struggle. Far to the left, a black mechanic in navy coveralls grinned, sweat dripping from his brow as he wiped it away. And there, standing apart from the rest, was the car's owner, sharp in a crisp suit and red tie. He didn't lift a finger. His polished shoes and crossed arms spoke volumes. He was the man in charge, and his laughter boomed louder than the rest. But what happened next would silence them all. The girl hesitated, her eyes locking onto the engine. Even from a distance, she spotted the loose belt and the misaligned cables, details the men had missed entirely. A spark of something inside her stirred. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. "Engines speak if you listen, kiddo. Don't fear the noise. Understand it." Her stomach twisted with hunger, but she couldn't stop the words that escaped her lips. "Can I fix it for food?" For a brief moment, the laughter halted. Then, the men exchanged glances and burst into uproarious laughter. The man in the suit slapped his thigh, unable to contain his amusement. "Did you hear that? This little beggar thinks she can fix my car." The older mechanic shook his head with a mocking smile. "Sweetheart, this ain't a toy wagon. It's a V8. Do you even know what that means?" The younger mechanic leaned in, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Where's your toolbox?" "In that filthy backpack." The black mechanic cackled the loudest. "Girl, you couldn't even lift one of these wrenches." What? You think blowing on it will get it started? Their laughter felt like a tidal wave crashing over her, washing away what little dignity she had left. Her face flushed with embarrassment, but she held her ground. I'm not joking. I can fix it. Just give me one meal. That's all I'm asking. The man in the suit took a step closer, sizing her up like she was an inconvenience. A plate of food to fix my car? Are you hearing yourself? You're starving because you're worthless. Cars need skill, not foolish dreams. The words stung, each one a sharp reminder of how little she had. But hunger and pride drove her forward. I know what I'm doing. I watched my father fix cars until the day he was gone. I learned in the garage, the junkyard, anywhere I could. I've practiced. I can help you. The older mechanic scoffed. Practiced on what? Abandoned junk? Get lost before we call someone to drag you off. Her stomach growled so loudly that it cut through their laughter. For a fleeting moment, the air between them felt still. Her eyes stung, but she stood up taller. You want to laugh? She said, her voice steady despite the tremor inside.
Fine.
But I'll tell you this. And with that, she made them listen. She locked eyes with each man, her voice trembling but unwavering. Give me one chance. If I fail, I walk away hungry. If I fix it, you owe me food. The younger mechanic laughed. What's next? You want a job here too? The black mechanic nudged the older one, snickering. Bet she doesn't even know where the spark plugs are. The suited man tilted his head, a grin forming. All right, beggar girl, he sneered. You fix it, you eat. But if you fail, don't cry. You asked for this. The men burst into laughter, towering over her like vultures. But her voice sliced through their mockery. Give me one chance. That's all I ask. The suited man's smirk grew wider. Fine, entertain us. But when you fail, you walk away hungry. The younger mechanic grinned. This is gonna be good. The black mechanic leaned back on the bench, chuckling. Kid, you're gonna make a fool of yourself. The older mechanic, sweat staining his gray hair, tossed her a wrench. Go ahead, sweetheart. Show us. Her fingers gripped the tool, and she leaned over the engine, the heat pressing against her face. Her chest tightened, but she steadied herself. Her father's voice whispered in her mind, engines talk if you listen. She spotted it right away, the loose ignition wire and the misaligned belt. Her voice shook, but she held firm. Your belt's misaligned, and the ignition wire isn't seated right. That's why it won't start. The men stared for a moment before bursting into laughter again, except for the older mechanic. His smile faded. She went to work without hesitation. The belt keeps slipping because it's misaligned, and the ignition wire is loose. Whoever worked on it last didn't tighten it properly. The men fell silent. Then the younger mechanic scoffed. Lucky guess. She ignored him, her hands moving quickly, resetting the cable and fixing the belt. Every movement was smooth, practiced. She wasn't just fixing the car. She was proving them wrong. The black mechanic furrowed his brow. Wait, she actually knows what she's doing. The older mechanic squinted, his smirk slowly disappearing. That's the right placement. The suited man shifted, but forced another laugh. She's still bluffing.
Start it then.
Let's see. She worked swiftly, her small hands steady. She reset the cable, pressed the belt back into place, then stepped back, wiping her brow. Try it now. The younger mechanic slid into the seat, still grinning. He turned the key, ready to mock her, but the engine roared to life, smooth and steady. The sound filled the shop, like the growl of a lion. A heavy silence followed. The suited man's grin vanished. The black mechanic let out a low whistle. The younger mechanic's jaw dropped. The older mechanic simply stared. His voice came out soft, almost a whisper.
Who taught you that?
She swallowed hard, gripping the wrench to her chest. My father. He used to fix cars before he was gone. The older man's eyes narrowed. What was his name? Her lips trembled. Marcus Ford. The wrench slipped from the older mechanic's hand, clattering against the concrete in the silence. He stepped closer, his gaze intense. Marcus Ford. I knew that name. Never met him, but every mechanic around here did. People used to say he had golden hands. He could make an engine sing. His voice cracked. What happened to him? Her throat tightened. He got sick. Couldn't afford treatment. I was 12 when I lost him. After that, I had nowhere else to go. In an instant, the mocking expressions disappeared. The younger mechanic lowered his gaze. The black mechanic rubbed the back of his neck, guilt written all over his face. And just like that, the silence spoke louder than any words ever could. The suited man had no retort left. The older mechanic placed a grease-streaked hand on her shoulder. Kid, you carry his blood. No wonder you saw it faster than any of us. She blinked back the tears that threatened to fall. For the first time, the mocking laughter that had haunted her was gone. The suited man cleared his throat, shifting uncomfortably. You fixed my car. You earned your meal. He waved toward the diner across the street. Get her whatever she wants. The younger mechanic hurried off and came back with a steaming plate of chicken and bread. Zoey sat on the curb, devouring the meal, tears slipping down her cheeks. Every bite felt like a small victory. The men watched in silence, no mockery, no ridicule. When she finished, wiping her mouth, the older mechanic crouched beside her.
Zoey, right?
You've got your father's gift. Don't let it go to waste. You'll always have a place in a shop like this. The younger mechanic nodded. Come back tomorrow. Sweep the floors. Watch us work. You'll learn, the black mechanic added softly. And you'll eat. We won't let you starve. Zoey clutched her backpack straps, overwhelmed. She had walked in as a starving beggar, mocked by 4 men, but now she left full, respected, and carrying her father's legacy with pride. The older mechanic watched her walk away, whispering to himself, Marcus, you'd be proud. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. And tell us in the comments, would you have trusted the girl with the car? Your voice matters.